Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast wrestling edition. We are going to be talking some wrestling and some wrestling news with our wrestling expert, Jacob Mason. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I'm so excited to talk some wrestling, especially these stories that we're going to hit on. They're all very interesting. So we're just going to, again, just hop right into our first story, and it involves Chelsea Green. Just not that long ago, Chelsea Green posted a bikini picture on Twitter and Instagram, and this guy on Twitter, Necro Eric, at old school TNA fan, said, "Believe it or not, there's a small percentage of people who actually take it more seriously. Instead of a joke that it is currently, it's all being about skin and superficial stuff does not help the cause of it at all." He got pushback from some people saying, about, and then he said, "Look at the current state of women's wrestling. None of the women wrestlers care. They rather post selfies and show off skin than do anything in the ring. I didn't say they couldn't show off skin and make money from it. I think the wrestling should be more important." And again, I know when we talk about the fact that we don't perform, but God, form came on this. You had a whole bunch of women posting their bikini picture and then a injury picture of themselves becoming the Women Can Do Both. Dana Brooke, Mia Yim, Anna J, Tanara Mello, Carmella, Brandy Rhodes, Allison Kay, Rhea Ripley. Like, I can go on. Obviously, Chelsea Green did one too. Naomi. Man, it was wild. So, Jacob, first off, what do you think of that guy's point? And, geez, what do you think about this, man?
All right, so I think the women can do whatever the hell they want. As long as they're good wrestlers, I don't give a shit what they do outside of wrestling. As long as it's nothing terrible, I guess, As long as they're not, I don't know, burning people alive, I guess I really don't give a shit what the hell they do. Now, when this all went down, me and you were talking back and forth about it. And I have a theory on this, and I'm still sticking to it. I think this whole thing was set up. I think this was either a fake troll account type deal thing that was set up with Chelsea Green to try and get her some exposure, because it worked like a charm. Because this whole thing just seems fishy to me. Because this one random person, whoever the hell it is, got everybody freaking out over this. And it all started with Chelsea, so I just can't. Just something seems off about this. And maybe it's because there's been different wrestlers in the past who have used fake accounts to get over on certain things. I mean, the Jericho and Kenny Omega feud started off with Jericho telling his buddy, "Hey, go send this tweet out at this time." And it's like, "Hey, what do you think of Kenny Omega?" And he goes, "He's not even the greatest wrestler in Winnipeg, let alone Canada," or whatever the hell he said. But it got that whole feud going. I think something's just wrong about this. I mean, what do you think, buddy?
I think, obviously, and then also Naomi said for this to happen during Women's History Month. That was also, I was like, oh yeah, that's real bad timing. But you're right. Women can do whatever they want. I want to poke some holes in what that guy said about they can make money outside of using their skin and all that. Obviously, he has not listened to our podcast, because if he would have known about the third party ban, he knows that is not happening anymore. Is that. But also when he talked about like the women's division being a joke currently, I would disagree. I would think this is obviously the most competitive women's division we've had probably in our lifetimes. Now, if he would have said something that the same 5 people are being pushed, then I would have agreed with him, because we're going to talk about that in our next segment. But yeah, this came out of nowhere again. This was like when we talked last 2 weeks ago about the build your own team controversy, because I'm surprised they gave this guy this type of day, because now, troll or not, he was all over the internet all day. You got him all the exposure. Shoot, we're talking about him right now. We wouldn't be talking about him if it didn't explode. Like, if it was like a one tweet off, fine, but he got a lot of exposure from this, and like you said, Chelsea Green got a lot of exposure from it as well. I don't know about it being set up, but you never know with wrestling. But I won't go that far, because also one of the tweets that this guy said was, "Can't wait for Chelsea Green to return and get injured in 5 seconds in her first match again." And I honestly don't even remember when last time Chelsea Green wrestled. I remember her debut on Raw, and then like that was it.
I think the most popular thing she's done really has been the stuff she did in Impact, or when she was in Double or Nothing, back when she was the crazy bride or whatever it was. I mean, that was like the most popular Chelsea Green has ever been, in my opinion. So I don't know. Something's weird about this. If this is 100% legit, fuck that guy. Why are we giving him the time of day? No one knows. He isn't worth the time of day. But that's my take.
Yeah, and then someone said posting photos of yourself in a bikini has nothing to do with your wrestling ability. Her media is hers to post if she pleases, not for anyone to tell her what to post. Female wrestlers do a lot more as public figures than just wrestle. Again, with this person, this was a lady. Again, can post whatever you want. You're employed by WWE, and if they don't like it, they'll tell you to take that shit down. So that's one. Again, third party ban. And Chelsea said, "Thank you." Like it meant. Absolutely not. I was like, I don't know about anything they want. Tag team, we talked about Big Cass and them. They were posting some political stuff, and they got the ass hands. So I don't know about anything about that, but I get the premise of it. But I'm also one of those people too who last year I was super hard on Lana because she was posting a whole bunch of bikini stuff instead of getting in the ring training, because she needs to. Everyone knows she needs to train. So yeah, I mean the women, they did good on them. Same with the build your wrestling team thing. I didn't see any of the big five say anything. I didn't see Charlotte. I didn't see Becky. I didn't see Sasha. I didn't see Bailey. I didn't see Asuka. Again, I didn't see any of the big five on this one. Maybe they're too busy, being the big five.
I think in a way they're probably just playing it safe, because I don't know. I mean, if you're that successful, if you're on that top tier level, like, it's probably safer just to not say anything out in public anymore and just kind of keep on what you're doing, for better or for worse, in my opinion.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, let's go into the next thing. We're talking about the women, so we're gonna go into this, which this blew up over this Monday. So, Peyton Royce, and before we talk about what she said on Monday, let's give a little backstory on this. Charlotte Flair, a couple weeks ago, the first week of March, came out after her dad and the Lacey thing was over, saying, "I want the Raw Women's Championship. I want to face Asuka at WrestleMania." I mean, me and you've been saying it's going to happen forever. But then this lady named Carrie said, "Of course you do. How about giving others a try?" And we find out that is Peyton Royce's mom. So Peyton Royce's mom retweets and quotes Charlotte saying, "Of course you do. Why don't you give people a try?" So then this Monday on Raw Talk, Peyton Royce is on there, and she has the best promo of her entire life on there about how she's frustrated. She has all this talent not being used. She's tired of the same people getting opportunities. Like, she's not going to be standing back anymore. And everyone was applauding her on Twitter. They were saying, Peyton was saying she wants Asuka, like she went off. And everyone's like, oh, Peyton versus Asuka, Peyton versus Asuka. Jacob, I didn't know Peyton had this in her. What did you think of that promo?
So the promo was great. And if anything, I think this goes to prove how much you need a Raw talk or a Smacking talk type show after the main shows. Because the people who aren't getting the time, you give them 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it's going to be on the talk show, and they're killing it. I mean, Peyton Royce isn't the first person to use that as a platform. The Miz did it. Cesaro's done it. Peyton's now doing it. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones. But, like, I mean, that promo was great. I mean, it wasn't her playing a character. That was just her being her. And that's what we all want.
That was Cassie. She's legit tired of this. And you brought up those names of like Peyton, Miz, Cesaro. So here's my problem with the promo. We were all talking about it, social media. You and I were talking about it fiercely. And we talked about those other people. But every time these things happen, WWE does nothing with it. Like if you remember when he had the Talking Smack one, we were saying, push him for the title for the Miz. Never happened. Cesaro's one, push him for the title. Never happened. Peyton's one, push her for the title. That's to remain to be seen, but probably not going to happen. So I think that's a big thing with WWE, that these promos happen so late at night after you're done watching 2-3 hours of Raw or SmackDown that you don't catch it unless you like just scrolling Twitter. And they get these out of them after the show. Why can't we get promos like this from these people during the show? Like, that's a problem I have with that. Like, and these are less scripted, obviously. I think they're shooting. So I think they need to let people shoot more on the TV and push these people after these promos, because this is going to be a hot topic every time she comes out now.
Yeah. The reason I don't think you're going to see as many quote unquote shoot promos, on the main shows is because of all the sponsors and looking and giving them a live mic, which trust me, I want them to do. Mm-hmm. As a fan, that's the best thing for the wrestler. It's a sink or swim type deal. But with the sponsors, if someone says something wrong, I mean, let's go back to the pipe bomb, which was the realest shoot promo in Raw possibly ever, where CM Punk said, when Vince McMahon's dead and his doofus son takes over and his whatever daughter, I forget what he said about Stephanie. But I mean, he went off and they cut the mic. So I think they kind of learned there, like, this was great. It got everybody talking. But at the same time, you're going to have sponsors going out there like, well, hey, we can't have wrestler A talking about wrestler B dying. Like, we can't have that. Or you can't. I just feel like there's a fear thing there. And from a business standpoint, which I'm trying to separate, what I like as a fan and what I like is thinking if I'm running the show and I have all this money and all these people I'm responsible for, you gotta play it safe. And that's why it's so nice to have Talking Smack, which is isn't it on the network?
Yeah, it's on like you can watch it on the network. You can watch it on FS1 or just catch the moments on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to play it safe because you want to make sure you're getting paid. But if you can get away with it on the Talking Smack or Talking Raw or whatever, go for it on there. That's my take.
So go off just a little pushback on that, with like the promo, the pipe bomb, which is the biggest promo of this century, of this decade, actually. Yeah, they had to cut his mic off, legit. Had to cut it off. But that provided the hottest summer in WWE in a long time. And like that added to the Cena feud, to obviously the best match of the Money in the Bank in Chicago. So my biggest thing was that they built off of it. Yeah, they had to cut it off, but they built off of it, and that was hot. Like all of these ones with Cesaro and Miz, and now Peyton. We don't know if they're going to build like they're not building off of these, and that's what's really irritating me about this. And then to play devil's advocate on Peyton, that her promo was fantastic, but there was something that Corey Graves said, which I actually agreed with, which I really don't agree with him that much. But when they split up the Iconic, everyone was reporting it was for Peyton to get her singles push, potentially see if she's championship material, and Billie Kay to go the wayside. Peyton got randomly placed with Lacey Evans. That was bad and doomed to begin with. But Billie Kay, by herself, has become a prominent member of SmackDown. I know we talked about her at the Royal Rumble, how she was one of the most entertaining things at the Royal Rumble, and she's been swimming by herself. Like, she knows her gimmick, she knows she's funny, she has the resume, like, she's passing it all out. She has the things with the Riot Squad and the other tag teams trying to jump on. Like, she is doing fantastic. And Peyton, you can't name one thing Peyton's done since they're split. So how much is that of obviously WWE, and how much is it of Peyton not taking initiative like Billie Kay does? Because Peyton, that was like one of the last times I remember her being on TV. Billie Kay is on SmackDown every week. So what do you think about that?
No, you pretty much nailed on the head on that one. I mean, I can't argue anything you said there. I mean, you have these crazy moments both in the WWE. I mean, pipe bomb is the biggest thing that happened in the modern era, I'd say. And if you want to go like outside of the WWE, and we talk about like when McGregor went crazy and threw the dolly into the bus at Khabib, and that turned out to be the biggest pay-per-view buy ever for the UFC. Man, do you just say screw it and just let the wrestlers just be them and let the cards fall where they fall? And if it works out, I mean, you're theoretically going to make more money than anything else.
I think you do, man, because I'm just thinking about the biggest feuds of like this modern era. Let's just go to WrestleMania 28, Cena Rock. Like, that was they didn't like each other at all. And you've never seen anyone call out The Rock ever. Not Stone Cold, not Undertaker, like Cena did. How Rock came out because he's been out of the business for so long, and he had like promo notes on his wrist, and Cena called him out on live TV. Or how Cena destroyed Roman Reigns on live TV, and you've never seen a former top guy kill the current top guy because your job's to put him over, and that was bad. And Kurt Angle even said they were shooting at each other, and when Cena said, "Man, it's called a promo, kid. I mean, you've had 4 years to try and learn how to do it," I was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa." And then when WWE writes stuff, like when they try and make it edgy and too far, it's just bad. If you remember when Charlotte and Paige were going at it, and Paige brought up the suicide of Charlotte's brother, like, who the hell allowed that to happen? Like, you would have been better off if they were just shooting instead of telling Paige, "Hey, make sure you remind her that her brother killed herself." Who the hell authorized that?
Or like another big feud would be the Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Let's face it, the best stuff they did was not in the ring; it was on Twitter.
Yes, that's a
that was wonderful.
Feud. That is a very good one on you, sir, because that on Twitter was getting wild. She stopped calling her Becky. She was calling her real name Rebecca. And Ronda was just going on saying, "Rebecca Quinn, I don't care what the script says. I'm beating the shit out of you." And I quote. I was like, holy. And like, they were going at it. And Twitter has been good for WWE because sometimes, man, the best feuds sometimes are on Twitter with wrestlers. Because with them versus fans.
Soldier Boy and Randy Orton
started on Twitter. And after this past week, Randy Orton went back and again, "Still think it's fake? Come bring your bitch ass over here." After Drew and Sheamus had a no contest, like, I don't know, man. It's they have the ways to push these people, and I don't see Peyton Royce winning the title at WrestleMania. No way. I don't even know she'll even have a match. If Asuka is looking like reported that she has a concussion and she has to relinquish that strap, we know who it's going to. And could I see Charlotte Flair taking a pin from Peyton Royce? Oh, hell no. Even on Charlotte talking, Mandy and Dana Brooke were asking like they want opportunity. Charlotte came up to him and was like, prove it. Come see me in the ring. I was like, oh, so we're just the standard bearer, which she is. But I was like, wow, it's wild, man. But Peyton has us intrigued now. But we've been talking about it for what, months? The women's division revolves around 5 people. And sometimes it does seem like no one else is trying. So
yeah. I mean, it sucks because we would have had a completely different picture if Lacey Evans didn't get pregnant.
Yeah, good on her. But just we're going to talk about how you were right about NXT, but quick plug on this. Jacob was right on the Lacey Evans thing that Lacey was going to take the belt, reported confirmed. She was going to beat Asuka. And then it was going to be Lacey as a champ versus Charlotte as a challenger at WrestleMania for the belt. And we know how that would have went. So we called that on the L7C podcast, and we would have been right until pregnancy happened. But let's jump from the women to AEW. The AEW dud heard around the world. Jacob, I'm going to let you take on this with the dud and with the terrible promoting of the Hall of Fame talent.
All right, so AEW, for those who did not know, had their pay-per-view Revolution this past weekend, I believe, or last week, and so it was good wrestling wise. It was good, and I'll give the highlights here first. The cinematic match between Darby Allin and Sting versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. That, in my opinion, was WWE WrestleMania quality of a cinematic match.
Quick thing, how much is Vince kicking himself that he denied Sting those cinematic matches? That's why he left.
You know, I don't think Vince cared that much. I really don't think Vince is kicking himself. I think Vince is probably like, who the hell is Sting and why do I care at this point? I mean, he's like, if anything, he's trying to get Undertaker to come back probably for at least another match or something crazy like that. You think, I mean, I don't think he gives 2 shits about Sting. I don't think he has. I don't think he will. He got his money's worth out of him for what, 1 Mania and what, 1 or 2 pay-per-view matches?
Yeah. I
mean, whatever. Everybody made a payday. Call it a day. Go on your way. But the cinematic match was great. That was wonderful. The women's championship match was okay, whatever. I mean, it's just standard AEW women's match. I mean, I'm not going to start bitching about that left and right like I normally do. But let's get here to the big stuff. So we have I guess we had 2 debuts on this past pay-per-view. The one being Ethan Page. And for those who do not know, that he's from Impact Wrestling, and he officially made his debut. He was one half of the tag team, the North, and they're a great tag team. I'm actually happy to see him there. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with him, though, because they have so much talent right now. But okay, whatever. But Big Show announced the week or 2 before the pay-per-view that they're going to have the Hall of Fame signing. And so the wrestling rumor mill blew up. Everybody's going, who is it? Is it Rob Van Dam, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar? I mean, the list just went on and on and on and on and on.
You had the idiot say CM Punk, and Jacob, as wrestling aficionados, we got to tell everyone, stop thinking CM Punk is always the name of the rumor. Just stop it.
Yeah, people do need to stop it. I mean, I'll say where I screwed up at, and because in my opinion, I was like, everybody's picking a male wrestler, and I was going the complete opposite. I was like, what if we actually get a female who's Hall of Fame worthy, blah, 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 blah. In the back of my mind, I'm like, holy shit, could it be AJ Lee? I mean,
Yeah.
I can't really bitch about all the CM Punk guys because this one time I'm like, shit, it's got to be AJ Lee. And I had, I had all the screenshots made up from like me and you texting. I was getting ready to post and be like, L7C, like we predicted this or called this, whatever. But we end up coming out with an insanely lackluster Captain Charisma. It's Christian Cage.
Oh my God.
Nobody cares. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I didn't give two shits. I was disappointed. I really didn't care.
Me either. And it makes no sense because we literally talked about 4 weeks ago. Like, obviously Christian isn't going anywhere. He was just at the Royal Rumble as a special appearance. Like, we were waiting for him and Edge to have some like tag matches that maybe at a SummerSlam or something like that. And then he just jumped ship to AEW. And apparently Christian didn't know they were building him as the Hall of Fame talent. Because again, we're expecting someone big dollar, and then we see Christian. No offense to him, but it's like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, you made me like tune in this to see Christian? Really? Come on. That was bad. That was so bad.
The best part about Christian signing with AEW is what Paul Heyman said on Talking Smack. And I don't know if you caught this or not. He basically told Edge that your brother Christian left because he did not want the ass whipping that was coming to him from Roman Reigns, and all your other friends are going to be turning shit too. That was the best part about it.
Wow, that was bad. And not excited for him versus Omega or anything like that. But let's talk about these the dud.
Okay. So we have the exploding barbed wire death match specifically made by Kenny Omega to take out Jon Moxley in the main event for the AEW title. The match was good. I can't complain about the match itself. The problem is people will only remember the ending of a pay-per-view and not the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. So we get to the end of the pay-per-view and the countdown is going off, and there's like 15 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever the hell it is. And they're counting it down to the whole ring's going to explode, and it's going to be one giant explosion of death and doom and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start the countdown. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers take off, and here comes Eddie Kingston, comes into the ring. Jon Moxley's laying there, passed out, dead, whatever the hell he is. And the countdown happens, and it gets to one, and Eddie Kingston covers Jon Moxley, and then the ring explodes with 3 sparklers from Walmart, a smoke bomb, and a little poppet that you throw on the ground. That's it. That was it. It was so bad. Because me and my wife were laughing. We're like, holy shit, is this it? And like, we're literally busting out laughing. Like, this is terrible. And it really was. It was the biggest dud. After the pay-per-view went off air, Jon Moxley gets on the mic and goes, basically, they started making fun of it because they even knew how shitty it was. And Jon Moxley was saying how Kenny Omega can't build a death ring for shit, or can't build an exploding ring for shit, or whatever he said. And then, but the whole time you have Eddie Kingston being attended to by medical and the paramedics, and he's just looks like he's passed out and dead. And it's like, dude, like, you had 3 sparklers go off. It would have been better if they no-sold it. If they just no-sold it, it would have been so much funnier.
It was bad because I know the age-old saying in wrestling is, all people remember is the finish. Like, and that was terrible. I know they were making fun of it, but I mean, that's the cover face too. But that was just bad. And, WWE Mark's coming in the comments saying, well, that's what happens with a second-rate organization and all that. Like, it was bad because the only things, and I was able to rewatch some of it. The only things I remember is literally Christian and the dud. I've watched that dud like 50 times on you. Like, it was just bad.
Yeah, I mean, it'll happen. I mean, I do like the fact that AEW addressed it. They didn't act like it didn't happen. They at least addressed it. Were like, yeah, this was terrible. This was god awful.
And
so I got to give them that because, WWE, and this isn't an attack on WWE or anything, they would act like this never happened.
Yes, they would have.
And that would have been that, and that's it. At least AEW is going, yeah, this wasn't good. This was shit. So,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right on that. They would have, but let's switch it off from the other Wednesday night show to NXT. And another thing that both these feuds, Jacob has been calling for almost half a year, and it is finally the two feuds he has been calling for. They are about to happen. Also, NXT was announced to have a 2-night event, Takeover, which is the first time ever, I believe. But Jacob, as Keith Lee would say, bask in your glory, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time coming. Like Martin said, I've been calling this for about 6 months, and I pretty much nailed this on the head, minus the Undisputed Era thing. I had a few guesses of when it would happen. I was just a little late, but I knew it was coming, and I called it, and it's happening. We're getting Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. The Undisputed Era is facing off with each other. The only question I have within that is what's going to now happen with Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. Of course, Bobby Fish will be injured because he's already injured, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But he's always injured, so that's standard work. But we finally get, and I am so freaking excited for it, we get Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship at the Takeover at Mania. God bless it. Oh, I called this months ago, and I'm so excited. And what's going to be even better is because I'll go ahead and make my prediction for that. Mystic Mason over here. Karrion Kross will go over on Finn Balor. He will take it from Finn. And then hopefully we get it set up where, oh, you beat me, but you didn't beat the demon. And then that's shooting right into the next pay-per-view. You heard it here first. All7C podcast, calling it now, letting everybody know. I don't know. I'm so excited. God bless it. I'm so excited. This is the most excited I've been for NXT probably since AEW came out. Because this is it's good shit. It's really good shit.
So a couple things on this, so I won't hold us on too much on this topic. One, yeah, man, you've been calling this for months. Good on you, brother. Good on you. Two, when Regal said he had a big announcement, we saw the rumors that they were talking about NXT going to Tuesday. We thought that was going to be an announcement. Obviously, it was not. It was the announcement of the 2-night takeover and the women's tag team belt. So good on that. So I'm already going to say it too. I don't know what Io Shirai, who she's going to be wrestling at a Takeover Part 1 or 2 at WrestleMania week. But obviously, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross are going to be the main event of the later day one. And then the day before, as of right now, it has to be Cole versus O'Reilly, main event.
Has to be.
So that's all I'm saying on those, man, because you've called it for months. Even Finn Balor told Karrion Kross, what took you so long? Like,
yeah. Timing is everything. That's what Karrion posted on his Instagram the following day, and they're doing the biggest match and the biggest pay-per-view of the year for NXT. It is flawless timing. I mean, yes, we all know this was set up months in advance, but this is just working out perfectly. And it sucked there for a minute because Karrion Kross did get injured last year. So, for the love of God, keep him healthy. Get me my 2 matches I need out of this feud, and then move on. Who the hell is Io Shirai going to face, though? That's another big question.
From looking at it, it's probably going to be the match you and I talked about months ago, too. It's finally going to be Io versus Raquel.
Yeah, but is Raquel going to be the one to end Io?
from history, from wrestling history, when the champion usually challenges the challenger, that's not good for the champ. And Io went up to Raquel and said, I want you next. So,
does anyone care about that?
well, I guess it'll be interesting to see if, because obviously NXT tradition, if Io loses, that means she's probably going to get moved up. They're not going to regulate her to scrap heaps, which that'd be interesting too in itself. But I think I watched Raquel and Dakota Kai go against Nia and Shayna, and Raquel is a very imposing presence. Like she can be very dominating, but so was Rhea Ripley, and then she ran into Charlotte, and then here we are. So we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see who dethrones her. Maybe Io does what Asuka did and just retires champ and moves up.
I don't see that happening. I can't imagine that. I imagine, like you said, if Raquel will probably go over, but I'm just like, I just feel like it's missing something. There's some sort of piece missing here for me.
I can't believe we're gonna go all these years and Candice has never been the women's champion.
Don't even get me started on that. That infuriates me.
Like I'm like I just thought like this would have been the perfect weekend, but the fact she's not moved up anything and she's still not women's champ, and it's looking like she'll be her whatever that girl is, will be going after those tag titles. So we'll see.
That'll be cool and whatnot. But like, I think Candice should have won it back when Halloween Havoc. I think they screwed up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we'll see. And this news came out of as left field as possible. WWE superstar Andrade surprised all of us because he just randomly asked for his release, and then WWE denied his release. They're probably gonna make him wait, but Jacob, what the hell? Andrade asking for his release? I guess the other reason that it shocked us, for those of you who don't know, Andrade is the real life fiance of the top woman in wrestling right now, Charlotte Flair. So, Jacob, what the hell?
Yeah. You know, I'm going to go a step further and say, and I hate that I'm saying this. I don't like that I'm saying this, but I'm not even going to say the top woman. I'm just going to say the top WWE star at this point because.
Oh, over the tribal?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that because we all know, like, it's just an impending doom over the women's division of her just calling out her own shots. Like the whole like Dana and Mandy Rose thing, like, we'll prove that you're better. Like, she's not in the champ, but she's running the show. She's a more imposing force than anyone else, and I hate it. I despise it.
You're right. I agree. Because we know there's always there's a meme of Tom and Jerry where a new women's champ wins, and Charlotte comes saying, I'm here to collect the title on borrowed time. And we've been saying that forever before recording. But it's, a woman has the belt. It's literally as long as until Charlotte wants it back. That is proven fact, period.
Yeah. I mean, heck, even when she was off for 6 months or whatnot, I mean, we're all just like, yeah, so this is really nice. Like, we're seeing different women's champs. Like, this is a good time. And we're like, oh, wait, Charlotte's going to be coming up any minute now. When she does, well, I guess she's going to be running shit again. So, yeah.
And she came back and won the titles, her first pay-per-view back.
Yeah, exactly. But back to the Andrade thing. God damn. Poor Andrade. I didn't see it coming because, like you said, he is the real-life fiance of Charlotte. Therefore, that should come with perks. I mean, it should.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in all the reports and everything that we read about this, what is crazier is the fact that Andrade he's trying to trademark a couple different names.
La Sombrera.
Yeah. What's even more wilder than that is you have Charlotte, who is out trademarking the Queen of Wrestling and Ashley Flair. She's trying to trademark those two things. That should scare the ever-living shit out of WWE. It should petrify them. Because Charlotte, being Charlotte, can, in her next contract negotiations, can just be like, Oh, we don't have to. I don't have to stay here. I can go to AEW. They will pay out the ass for me.
Oh my God, help us. Yeah, it's something wild too, because you're right. Like I'm looking at the article that when we talked about it, and that's the biggest thing I have circled that at Ashley. But Charlotte applied for trademarks on her own. So she could, and like we talked about, we know who her dad is, real life, Ric Flair. So she knows this business inside and out. And it's good to trademark that stuff now. So if WWE wants to use it, they have to ask you to. So if you leave the company, you have those trademarks. So that's super smart on her. And man, this is going to be so interesting because from seeing, like, she really loves this man. Obviously, they're engaged. And she can go into her next contract negotiations like, dude, if y'all don't do something with Andrade, I'm leaving. Is she going to leave? No. But she has taken the steps and she could walk out, sit 90 days. TNT, you talk about Brinks trunks for AJ, they'll bring the convoys. They will do airdrops of money. Like you'll have M16s filled with millions of dollars for Charlotte Flair coming to her house in probably North Carolina. Like that, WWE couldn't have that. No way, Jose.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a Andrade push coming up here. I think that's going to happen because I think they're going to have to make Andrade happy, mainly to keep Charlotte happy. They don't give two shits about Andrade. No. They don't. They give all the shits about Charlotte, which really, really sucks because let's face it, Andrade, you could argue it all day. Him and Johnny Gargano had the greatest match at any NXT pay-per-view ever. I mean, even on NXT's or WWE's own YouTube page, had the top 5 NXT pay-per-view matches. Number 1 was the Andrade Gargano match.
People forget he was champ on there.
Yeah, and he was a damn good champ. He was a great heel. The biggest thing that went to shit with Andrade is when him and Selena Vega were no more. Mm-hmm. Which I believe was even before Selena lost before she got fired. She got third-partied.
You know what's funny too? You brought up Selena, and Andrade is not the person I was thinking this type of article would come out around this time. Like I was thinking Aleister Black. Like, where the hell is he? Like Andrade, this shocks me because of who his wife to be is. Aleister not asking for his release shocks me on who his wife is because she got third party. And he'd be like, dude, I want to be here. My wife got fired. I'm out of here. And he's still signed. Like that's wild.
I think probably, I mean, I don't know how much he's making. And I've said this before about different wrestlers and stuff. Screw it. If they don't want to do jack shit with you, you know how good you are. Just keep doing your dark matches. I imagine that's what he's doing. Or doing just training at PC or whatnot. But just keep doing that and collecting that paycheck. And then when it comes time, be like, oh, hey, you want to sign a new contract? No. And just wait out your time, then go. There's other options out there. So yeah, I don't know. It is absolutely. It's crazy that he asked for it. I don't blame him though.
No, I don't. But
like we said, I think the biggest takeaway is the Charlotte thing.
Yeah,
more than Andrade.
And me and you're going to have to be following that super carefully because as soon as the first article comes out that Charlotte is unhappy with WWE, we're going to have to hop on and do an emergency one. We're going to have to.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, oh, this is some real interest. Oh boy, this is interesting. But man, we got some quick notes on some wrestling things. We got Fastlane coming up. The only match that really matters is Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, and winner goes to wrestle Edge at WrestleMania in the main event. This is almost the same thing like 6 years ago where they wrestled. Winner got to face Brock Lesnar. We already know the result of this. Roman's going to go over, but what is Daniel Bryan doing? Like, is they going to try and swindle this in a way to potentially make this a triple threat at Mania? Is there an option for that? Or like, is this really his last like I'm starting to get that vibe. But what do you think about this?
I think this could very well be a three-way triple threat match for the title. I think there can be some absolute shenanigans on anyone's part during this, where someone gets screwed and Daniel Bryan somehow ends up winning. And if that's the case, you're getting Roman Reigns going, well, I want my rematch clause and I'll take it at WrestleMania. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have the triple threat match for the SmackDown title at Mania.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see because that's the only match of really any importance. Sasha, I think is going like Sasha and them are going against Sasha and Bianca are going against Nia and Shayna again, and like, but that's not going to be anything. I don't know when the hell they're dropping those belts, but I guess yeah, that's the only thing of importance right now, unless they say on Fastlane that they have a women's thing and women, whatever Raw champ person gets to go against Asuka if she's clear by then, but. Yeah, man, this Daniel Bryan stuff's been very interesting because he got thrusted into this main event. He's talking about this might be his last one. He deserves to wrestle WrestleMania. The two people main eventing WrestleMania have only wrestled 3 times all year, which is wild. So we're gonna have to see on that. Another quick thing I just wanted to hit super quick. Because it came out recently. Another failed WWE guy who they should have used more. Rick Swann. He unified the TNA and Impact Championships, become the first unified Impact World Champ. He is going to face Kenny Omega on April 24th in a title for title match. And Jacob, I'm not going to lie, I'm so happy that's at the end of the month because God knows we have a busy end of March, early April. And so I'm so happy this is at the end of the month. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, thank God it is at the end of the month. I think they realized there's no way we can fit this all in at the beginning of the month because of WWE, let alone anyone else's schedule. I don't even know if any other companies right now are doing a pay-per-view type deal thing like they normally do for Mania. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thank God. I don't even know where we're going to fit in all the podcast stacks. We're going to have two or three different podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
All in the span of a week and a half. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I'll get my top spot back. I'm calling it now. Yeah. So Kenny Omega is going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, there's. I feel like this is kind of like Roman, like showing up to a TNA. Like, of course, Kenny's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Do you expect anything? There's no other way you can do it. Yeah. Kenny is going to go on what Austin Aries did a few years ago when he was the belt collector. And he went around and got everybody's main titles. And the biggest question is if he does that, when do we get the freaking crossover with New Japan and AEW? Because are we going to get a Kota Ibushi versus Kenny Omega on an AEW pay-per-view?
As long as it's not the first week of April, I'm all for it. That's all I'm asking. Guys, any low-level totem pole people who listen to the L7C pod from AEW Impact, any of them, please tell your higher-ups to not do anything that first week of April. Like, please don't. Like, Jacob, can you even just tell everyone, like, how much is going on in that week of April?
All right, so the schedule for WrestleMania week, just WWE, is Monday is Monday Night Raw before Mania. Tuesday is the Hall of Fame, which is the 2020 Hall of Fame and the 2021 Hall of Fame, which I imagine we'll probably do a podcast that day because, I mean, Hall of Fame, whatever.
Shout out to Molly Holly, first one of 2021. Here's your plug.
That is true, though. That is definitely true. Wednesday is part 1 of NXT TakeOver. Thursday is part 2 of NXT TakeOver. Friday, SmackDown, of course. Saturday is part 1 or night 1 of WrestleMania. Sunday is night 2 of WrestleMania. followed by the following Monday, we'll get the Raw after
The
WrestleMania.
best Raw of the year.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's always the best. But here's the problem: it's always the best, but we're not going to have the crowd there. The crowd always makes that night.
But are we though? Because remember, the big tagline for this WrestleMania is WrestleMania's back in business because they're going to have limited fans there. I think about 20%. So if they could do 20% of WrestleMania, do you think they're going to start letting 20% in the crowds now?
I don't know. Because there's going to be, I heard the number is going to be like 37,000 people they're expecting for WrestleMania. And you know what? Shout out to WWE because their cheapest ticket is starting out at $25. They could absolutely, like everything else right now in the world, could price gouge the living shit out of their tickets. But instead, I mean, they're going 25. Of course, it's going to be the nosebleeds, but still, you're going to go to WrestleMania. Like, good job, Vince, for not being that money-grubbing bastard like you normally are. So, thank you.
I wish the L7C had more money one of these days. We're going to have to live podcast from a WrestleMania.
Damn right we are. I mean, you got to talk to Anchor. I tried getting us the Natural Light sponsorship on Instagram one time. But if you can talk to Anchor about, hey, we're over 900 listens to now. They need to start ramping us up. We need more than $9 or whatever we have. We burned off this.
Hey man, but hey Jacob, we're at the end, man, of this pod, and I don't think we're gonna be back until Omega Busy Week when we're previewing everything in the sun. So we're gonna have about a week or two off, and then we start getting those notes. And WWE and NXT release the cards for these so we could prepare and get these out. Do not release these cards the day before. Please do not. Get these out before, like, get them out like the end of March, please. That's all I'm gonna say. But Jacob, you got anything else, man?
I don't know because, like, well, according to the rumors, and they're all rumors, WWE only has like 1% of their card figured out right now for Mania. So, and it wouldn't shock me. Between injuries and pregnancies and everything else, I'm sure everything's up in the air. So, I don't know. Last year you had to completely change your WrestleMania plans. This year you just don't have the talent. So it'll be okay. They'll figure it out. Just let us know so we can pregame and figure out what the hell we're going to do. That'd be great. Trying to think. I don't think there's really any other crazy wrestling stuff happening right now. Like I said, we'll be back for Hell Week, which will be a lot of fun.
You talked about the talent. Peyton Royce. Be that shining moment this year, then. Let's see it. I'm gonna be watching you on Monday. If you don't wrestle on Monday after that promo, you might have to go join your husband on AEW. You might have to. You might have to go join Spears. Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger, aka. But no, man, I don't have anything else to say. Just want to always thank the listeners for listening to the L7C podcast. Thank you, Jacob, for being on. Guys, we're literally on the road to WrestleMania. Next time you hear from us, we're going to be previewing the first ever 2-part NXT takeover, another 2-part WrestleMania, probably talk about the Hall of Fame. Guys, this is wrestling season, and you're going to be hearing from us a lot. And with that being said, thank you guys for listening to the L7C podcast. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.